Today in the Toyverse, folks, we take a look at the SUPER7 Heman Masters of the Universe Classics Ultimate Edition He-Man figure. This line has been bittersweet to me, to say the least. I picked it up to support the Thundercats line, since that went the way of the dodo, if you will. I am now stuck with this He-Man line. And at first I was a little bummed out, I won't lie, but you know, I've had a whole month and some change to really look back on the line, and I have to say, you know, I'm not so disappointed that I have them in my collection, to say the least. However, enough of the chitter-chatter about what I think. Let's look at the figure so you can examine yourself if it's something that you want. Bringing in He-Man here. The sculpt is done very nicely, as it should be, considering this is the flagship character. His battle armor looks great. The muscles, they look fantastic. Bringing it all the way down, we have the loincloth here, looking ever so loincloth-ish. His gauntlets on his arm are done very nicely. Those back muscles are fantastic, pal. Look at those legs. He-Man obviously works out. And those boots are sculpted very nicely as well. And he does have peg holes at the bottom of the feet. So let's go ahead and break down He-Man's articulation. And we'll go from there. In terms of the head, He-Man can sort of look up, ever so slightly. He can look down a good amount. There is a ball joint in there, so you do get some attitude with your He-Man. And he can do the Exorcist 360 thing. So, in terms of an ab crunch, it goes down that much. And it goes back a fair amount. You do have rotation at the waist. In terms of the arms, they're on a ball hinge system. They go up that much. They go down. And they spin a full 360. You do have the bicep cut here. You do have a hinge at the elbow, but limited... what's that word I want to use? Articulation on that front. I mean, it works. Be nice if it could work better, but I mean, as you can see, his muscle's so dang huge. It does kind of get in the way. And he does have a swivel at the wrist. In terms of the lower body, oh, and it's the same on the other side. In terms of the lower body, He-Man can do the splits quite well because he is that buff, and nothing stops He-Man from doing the splits. Bringing it back down, we do have the thigh cut right there. So, it allows the leg to kick up about that far and go back a fair amount. Single bend in the knee works well enough. A boot cut, if that's your thing. And a hinge at the foot that allows to go up that much and go back a fair bit. No ankle rocker to speak of. So overall, a decent amount of articulation. If you're used to this line, you know what you're getting yourself into. And as the flagship character, I don't know if you could have any more articulation on him based on the price point and all those things. But it's a fair enough. You can get some decent poses out of him nonetheless, which of course is very nice. Let's go ahead and stop it right here. I'm going to talk about all his accessories, and we'll go from there. So the first thing I want to talk about is this mini comic poster here. As you can see, the power of Grayskull reborn, and He-Man leading the charge against the evil Skeletor. And on the back, it gives you a nice description. Unfortunately, this happened right out of the package. Very disappointed, to say the least. Not a big fan of that, I won't lie. There's nothing I could really do about it, so it is what it is. But, you know, very disappointed. But very cool nonetheless. Alright, I am back. I had to adjust a couple things. Not sure why the lighting was acting up. But He-Man certainly earns his ultimate moniker here within the SUPER7 line. We have the mini comic sword. We have a battle axe. We have classic power sword, or excuse me, half power sword, a throwback to the vintage line, and the standard power sword. And we also get a shield. And the cool thing is about the shield, it just clips right onto He-Man's arm here, like so, and he holds it, no problem. And it doesn't get in the way of articulation at all, so that's always nice. And then let's talk about the heads. I believe we have his origin style head right here. When he was first designed, I believe that's what that head represents. And then we have the vintage style head, looking very vintage stylish, but nice nonetheless. And the last head is this one, which I believe is based on the mini comic. If I'm not mistaken, I'm not 100% sure. Like I said, I'm not the biggest He-Man expert, but to pop off the head, you just do that. Head pops off. Take this head and you squeeze it on like so, and voila! We have an alternate head for our He-Man figure. So, all in all, very nice. It was nice of SUPER7 to include all this stuff, and it's finally nice, I guess, to have a He-Man action figure in my collection. Let's go ahead and do the size comparison and call it a day. And for this size comparison, folks, here are all 5 figures that were included in the SUPER7's first Ultimate offering. We have He-Man, we have Skeletor, Teela, Ram-Man, and of course the Evil Faker. They all fit in scale very nicely with each other, and it's nice to have some pals for He-Man to either fight or hang out with. So, final thoughts on this figure? Well, if you didn't get him during the event, he's going to be really hard to pick up. So you need to determine for yourself whether or not it's something you want to spend the money on. Personally, here's my viewpoint. If you're not a super huge fan of He-Man, I would say stay away. I mean, unless you're totally in love with He-Man, then find a way to get it, because the only way to get this figure now is on the secondary market. I haven't looked at the prices for a little bit now, but I'm sure they are still crazy high. So don't go breaking an arm and a leg to get this guy. Am I happy that I have him? Like I stated earlier in the video, I am. I'm happy he's a part of my collection. Sometimes you get toys and you have them in your hands and you're just like, yeah, that's how I kind of feel with He-Man. It is fun to see him in my collection, like I said, but at the end of the day, the passion for He-Man is not there as it may be for others who have reviewed him here on YouTube. So, that's pretty much where I stand on it. So, with that being said, I want to thank you guys for taking the time to check out the channel, watch this video. I appreciate it. I'm going to throw a few shout-outs here right now. Make sure you check out the Don, Tony, and Kevin Castle show, friends of this show. So I always appreciate the shout-outs that they give, and they do a wonderful podcast. Also, some of the sponsors, go check out Extreme Dash Sets for the awesome dioramas. Head over to BigBadToyStore.com to see all their toys and collectibles. For all things geekery, head over to UndercoverCapes.com. Last but not least, if you enjoy doing toy photography, use the hashtag ToyLoverCrew on Instagram and throw a follow at ToyLoverCrew and see what they're doing. We'll be more than happy to say hello and, you know, see what you do toy photography-wise. And stay tuned at the end for the slideshow. And until next time, great googly moogly.